Federal Budget 2020 is unparalleled in scale. At $214 billion, the 2020-21 deficit is the largest ever by a considerable margin. Even relative to the size of the economy, the deficit is almost 3 times the size of that recorded in the aftermath of the GFC and the 1990s recession. Consequently, the federal government's net debt is expected to nearly double from June 2020 to June 2024, ending the period at 44% of GDP. Very clearly, spending on this scale is justified by the circumstances. Over the first 6 months of 2020, Australian GDP contracted by over 7% under the weight of the restrictions required to suppress COVID-19. The unemployment rate has since risen from around 5% to near 7%, we believe on its way to almost 8%, despite large-scale government support through programs such as JobKeeper and JobSeeker. With the GDP contraction behind us, in Budget 2020, the federal government is seeking to shift households and businesses' focus from the immediate to the medium term, and in so doing, lay a strong foundation for recovery. An example of this is found in this budget's job initiatives. JobKeeper and JobSeeker have not been extended past their respective current March 2021 and December 2020 end dates. The focus has instead been shifted to new job creation through the introduction of the JobMaker Plan, which includes measures such as a hiring credit for young workers, support for new apprentices and trainees, and access to additional free or low-cost education for job seekers and young people through the Job Trainer Fund. Highlighting the hoped-for scale of the JobMaker Plan, the hiring credit is expected to support around 450,000 positions for young people by providing firms with $200 a week for 12 months if the new eligible worker is between 16 and 29 years old, and $100 a week if they are aged between 30 and 35. By paying a 50% wage subsidy up to a cap of $7,000 a quarter, the boosting apprenticeship wage subsidy will also support up to 100,000 new apprenticeships. To support household confidence and incomes more broadly, the government has also elected to bring forward the Stage 2 tax cuts to 1 July 2020, raising the 32.5 cent and 37 cent thresholds to $45,000 and $120,000 respectively. An additional benefit will also be provided through the low and middle income offset in 2020-2021. Combined, these measures will be worth between $1,060 and $2,745 for workers earning between $40,000 and $200,000 a year, with the maximum benefit going to those who earn $120,000. For pensioners and other eligible recipients, 2 additional economic support payments of $250 will be made. This is in addition to the 2 previous $750 payments. Turning then to the business sector, in addition to the job creation measures already discussed, there are 2 key initiatives in this budget. First, until June 2022, businesses with turnover up to $5 billion will be able to deduct the full cost of eligible depreciable assets of any value in the year installed. It is anticipated that this incentive will apply to around $200 billion of investment over that period. Second, a temporary loss carryback arrangement is expected to provide further cash flow support for firms and incentivise investment. Simply, businesses will be able to offset losses incurred up to 2021-2022 against previous profits in or after 2018-2019 financial year to generate a refund. In these uncertain times, it is also important to emphasise the nation-building aspects of this budget. To June 2022, $5.7 billion of additional funding will be provided for infrastructure investments across the states and territories for immediate use. New infrastructure spending grows to almost $11 billion to June 2024. In addition, there is also $1.5 billion for manufacturing sector initiatives to expand industry and commercialise R&D. An additional 10,000 places under the government's first home loan deposit scheme will also be providing support to residential construction in a trying time. In terms of the economic outlook, the government's forecasts highlight the significance of the containment measures to date and the belief in the power of fiscal and monetary stimulus. Back in July, the government anticipated a 2.5% contraction in GDP in 2020-21. That has now been revised to minus 1.5%. In 2021-2022, a 4.75% gain is expected, followed by growth around trend between July 2022 and June 2024. Near-term optimism is also seen in the unemployment rate forecasts. The 2020-2021 view revised down from 8.75% to 7.25% in Budget 2020. However, further progress thereafter is relatively slow. The unemployment rate still seen well above the full employment level come June 2024. Westpac's own growth forecast is in line with the government's in 2020-2021, but weaker in 2022. Thereafter, it also settles at trend. This sees our unemployment rate forecast hold above the government's over the forecast period. As these forecasts attest, considerable uncertainty is clouding the outlook, and risks are skewed downward. This highlights the need for policymakers to remain responsive and acutely aware of potential shocks and impediments to growth.